Welcome to Make You Remarkable, brought to you by Oconee State Bank, the podcast that's all about unleashing your inner leader and making an impact on your community. Get ready for a wild ride of inspiration, education, and a whole lot of fun. Each week, we sit down with local legends, business owners, and influential minds to talk about their journey, their impact, and the secrets behind their incredible success. This is not your ordinary bank podcast. We're here to bring the energy, the laughs, and the aha moments that'll leave you itching to conquer the world. Now get ready to make your remarkable with your host, JT Tomlin.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Make You Remarkable, hosted by Oconee State Bank. I'm JT Tomlin, and today I'm joined with Liz McShane, CEO of On-Trend Creative Studio and Repurposed Photography. Liz is a woman of many talents. She has her master's in nursing and worked in the medical field for 6 years before deciding she wanted to pursue her dream of running a business. She now has a successful photography business and works with families and businesses and mentors other up-and-coming photographers. And in 2022, she combined her love of photography and helping other people into On-Trend Creative Studio. On-Trend Creative Studio.
You got it.
Well, how are you doing today?
Good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Me too.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I'm from Athens. I lived in Boston for a couple of years. That didn't last long. I did nursing up there and then moved home, started a family, continued to work as a nurse, and then jumped into serial entrepreneurship not long after that. So
how did an Athens girl get up to Boston?
So my husband went to UGA to get his MBA and took a job at a bank up there, did the corporate thing. He decided it wasn't for him. The big hospital wasn't for me. The snow was not for either of us. So we decided to move home. So it was a good experience.
Does it like snow year round in Boston?
Yes.
Pretty
it's
much.
only warm like 4 months out of the year. So
Oh my gosh.
not for me. Yeah.
Whereas in Georgia, you're always warm.
Always warm.
No break.
Yes. I love Georgia.
Well, tell us about On-Trend. What is y'all's mission, your vision? What do y'all do?
Yeah, so On-Trend kind of came about when I was working with a lot of clients doing branding sessions because my other business and my love is photography. So what I learned was there was a gap. These businesses I was giving them the photos, but they didn't know how to utilize them or how to leverage them to turn around and make money, basically. So I realized there's a need for this service. I can scale a team, whereas with photography, you're pretty much, it's just you.
Yeah.
I love being a part of a team. So it was really intriguing to me to do that. So I put some messages out to some girls that I knew that went to UGA, and literally within a week, I had a business going. And some of those girls are still with me today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of how we got started.
Were they all like still in school or did they graduate?
They were all in school at the time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you had a team of people who, really, social media is like what they know.
Exactly. They've taught me so much.
Yeah.
And I don't know how old you are. You're younger than I am, but I feel like I get it. I'm not so old that it's like I'm not a dinosaur. I know how to navigate social media, but they definitely understand the trends and, little tips and hacks that make it easier. So it was a really good fit.
The digital native.
Yes.
Oh, I get it.
Yes.
Well, what keeps you going in this industry? What's your drive?
Honestly, for a long time, my drive was to grow and to get bigger and to get bigger. When I hired a business coach, which was the best investment I've ever made in my business, she said, think about Chick-fil-A. She said, they're one of the biggest fast food restaurants in the country. They don't have a model that chases growth, actually. They have a very conservative growth model.
Right.
They're focused on being the best at what they do. Mm-hmm. And then growth comes naturally with that. So right now, that's what keeps me going, is focusing on the excellence that we provide, not so much the growth. I used to have this number of clients I wanted to have. That was my goal. Well, we've reached that now that I've stopped trying to reach that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it's because we've focused on our systems, on perfecting those, on providing excellence and integrity and honesty. And so all of the things that we value that's part of our mission, I think is what's getting us to that point. So that's kind of my my mission with On-Trend.
And are you an all-woman team, everyone?
We are, but we've had some guys work with us. I'm not opposed to it. I don't try to, I don't pick and choose. I just want talent. So it's just naturally kind of evolved into that.
Which is awesome, though.
Yeah.
It's cool. I was listening to another one of your podcasts that you've done, and you were talking about it and how you invest in your team. And I think that's so important. And building just a really good relationship with your team. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I love the girls that work for me. Like genuinely care about them. So it's a really cool team to be a part of.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, going a little deeper, what is a struggle that you have currently faced or that you're currently facing or that you faced in the past, and how did you overcome it?
Oof, that's a loaded question.
It's hard.
There's so many struggles as a business owner. I think for me personally, and maybe it is I didn't go to school to do this. I'm not a corporate, I don't have the corporate lingo or the background.
Right.
Everything I've done, I've taught myself. So I would say the hardest thing to navigate for me is maybe boundaries with some difficult clients and I don't have any at the moment. I love all of my clients, but it does happen, and understanding how to kind of create boundaries and how to be clear. One thing I've learned is clarity is kindness. And so if I can work on being more clear, it doesn't mean I'm being rude or, mean. It's just being clear with what my expectations are from our clients as well as their expectations of us. So I think that's probably been my biggest hurdle.
And how have you gotten to that place? Like, were you not clear in the beginning and then you've had to learn that? Or is it something where you just kind of always had that clarity mentality?
No, I think for me, it's a confidence thing. I think growing my confidence has allowed me to be more clear with clients that might kind of be getting out of line or, not abiding by the contract or different things. I think, again, going back to hiring a third party to give me objective advice on what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong has been so great for me because I'm very coachable. So if somebody I trust and respect is telling me, you need to do it this way, I will do it that way. So I think just making me aware of what I was doing wrong, which I think maybe it was just being a little, not timid, but just maybe not having the confidence to stand my ground and say, hey, I'm sorry, like based on our contract, this is how we have to do this. So it's really given me some thicker skin. I'll say that.
Well, one of the questions I wanted to ask you about is how did you go from nursing to creative? I mean, that's a huge step.
At the time it made no sense.
Right.
Honestly, it didn't. And looking back now, hindsight's 2020, it makes so much sense. So I think I loved being in what they call a pink collar job profession, the service industry. I just didn't feel, or I felt like I was maxed out. Like I felt like I was not in control of how much money I was going to make, my hours. So I just got burnt out with that. And also I'm a creative. I wasn't using any of that. So ultimately I don't think I was fulfilled because I wasn't using all of the gifts God has given me. So I took a leap of faith and decided to walk away from that. I had a master's degree in that, which, so you understand how crazy that was. And I bought a camera off Facebook Marketplace for $200 and I started teaching myself how to use it. And over time, I realized how much I loved it. I realized I had really no ceiling. I mean, if I want to work 24 hours a day and make a lot of money, I can. Obviously, that's not possible. I have 3 kids now. But the business was growing. And so now, here comes On Trend, which was birthed because of photography. And one thing I preach to the girls all the time is there is no ceiling. You shouldn't, if you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, there's no max, unless you want there to be. But when you feel like you are at capacity, that's when you delegate. And as they say in the book Traction, you delegate and elevate. That's what I tell them. You need to scale. You need to grow a team underneath you so that you can take on more and grow up. So all of that to say, it didn't really make sense how I got here, but I just felt like I was in a box.
Well, I like the delegate and elevate.
Delegate and elevate. Yep.
That's awesome.
And it's just that's how you go up. If you want to go up. And for me, I do. So I tell them all the time, there is no ceiling, there's no capacity. You pass off things that you either don't have time to do or that you don't need to be doing. And you handle the big stuff and you pay somebody else to do the other tasks that you need them to do. So I want them all to think like business owners. I don't want them to think like a 9-to-5er. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want them, if they're working for me, I want them to have the same mentality that I do. So,
which is good because it allows your business to go just kind of build out, not necessarily build up, but build out and up.
And it incentivizes them in a lot of ways too. I think it helps them grow confidence, not only in themselves, but in me, and knowing that I genuinely want them to make a lot of money. I mean, that's not the only reason, but it's one of the big reasons we start businesses is to be successful and provide for our families. So I want them to feel like this is a way for them to do that. And not only that, but they can work from home. They can work from anywhere in this industry. It's not, we have an office, but there are no set hours. I mean, they can be in Europe and work if they want. I mean, it doesn't matter as long as they're getting the job done and doing it well.
I mean, that's fantastic. And especially in this day and age, like the work from home mentality is big, and especially in the social media industry or the photography industry, creative industry in general. That's a demand, and it's so cool that you're not only allowing for people to do that, but also encouraging that.
Yeah.
It's really, really awesome. Well, what is your favorite part about running a business? I mean, that's the fun question.
My favorite part, it is hard because I love so much about it. I mean, I just don't ever feel like I don't want to do this anymore. I really don't. I have so much passion for me. Obviously, there are days that are like, whew, this is tough. But overall, I just love the freedom, and I love not being put in a box. And I love, because I'm a workhorse. And so if I have the freedom to run, like, I'm never going to stop. And so that's what I love about owning a business. It's really what I want to make of it. So
what would you say is the hardest part about owning a business?
All of the decision making. I mean, there's so many hard things, and all of the many hats we have to wear, from bookkeeping to, running my own social media and managing a family. I mean, there's so many hard things about. I mean, I think you honestly have to be a little bit crazy to want to do this, because it's not easy.
Well, and so what did that look like for you? And going back to like the transition from nursing to being a business owner. And did you have kids before you went into the business, or no?
I had 2. We now have 3.
Okay.
8, 5, and 3. So it's getting a little bit easier to manage it all. But there was a time where, I mean, they were younger, and it was really hard. But I don't know why I think this way. And again, back to, I don't have all the right like corporate lingo to explain this. But whenever I'm put in a situation that is more difficult, it almost like empowers me to push harder, if that makes sense. Like, so when I had the kids and they were younger, I almost worked harder, I feel like, than maybe I even do now, in a sense. It's weird. Yeah. It's like the more I have on my plate, the like, maybe I thrive in chaos. I don't know. But I
feel like creatives do.
Maybe that's what it
kind
is.
Of a thing, right?
Yeah. So
the more stress you have, the better you do.
That, and I feel like I think the first 2 years of any business, I think, is the hardest. Right. Because I mean, there's just so many things you're trying to build out and figure out and work out the kinks. So we've passed that mark now. Not that it's easy, but things are definitely different. And I'm not stressing 24/7 like I used to. I mean, the girls, they're seasoned now. I don't have to micromanage. So it definitely gets easier. And I think a lot of people probably give up before they get to that point. So, they never get to see the fruits of all that labor. So I think right now I'm in a season of maybe getting to, harvest a little bit. So
I just thought about this. Were you a nurse during COVID?
No, I got out literally right before that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what, praise the Lord for that. I mean, you actually went into the field that, obviously nursing was an incredible need during COVID, but you went into a field that was a really up and coming field. I mean, right as COVID hit, photography and social media went skyrocketed.
I did not know that social media management was even a thing when I started this business. I never saw anybody else doing it. So here's honestly what really led me to do this was when I had my photography business, which I still run, and still to this day, most of my leads come through Instagram. I would say like 99% of them come from Instagram. And obviously word of mouth is a big part of that now. Right. But for me, I was growing a really successful business, and it was solely based on social media marketing. And so I knew it worked. So then I'm telling other businesses, let me take your photos. You could use it for social media. That's how I grew. And then when I realized they didn't have the time or know how to use it on social media, that's when I was like, it all clicked.
Yeah. What was that realization like? How did you kind of notice that?
I was with a particular business in Athens, and I came to them to provide photos for them to use just for social media. And then I think a month passed after I provided the photos, and I texted the owner and I was like, hey, were those photos okay? I haven't seen any. And she's like, yes, we just have not had time to post them. And when they did, I noticed some things. I was like, ooh, I would have done this differently. And so then this seed was planted, and it just kept going. And I was like, I got to do this.
Well, and really you're providing a perfect package, because as a photographer, you see a vision. It's not just the picture. It's how is this picture, whether it be families, how is this picture going to be framed in their house, or how are they going to share this on social media? How are they going to tell the story of this moment? Or if it's a business, how are they going to use this to promote themselves?
Yeah, exactly.
You get the opportunity to not only capture it and give them this beautiful image, but also tell that story for them, which is, something that a lot of people don't know how to do.
Right. I talk about photography almost as if it's like not even here. I'm still extremely active with that. It just doesn't feel like a job to me anymore. It honestly feels like an outlet. I mean, I still love it. I still get excited. I still love editing. I mean, I don't think I'll ever get tired of it. But On Trend is more of a business. I mean, it's a scaled business, but the photography is very much a business, but it's kind of like my first love. So more feels like a hobby, honestly, but
Which is good. I mean, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, and you can probably relate to that with photography. I mean, it's just, it's fun.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
You can't get over it. The camera is such a powerful tool.
Yes.
That's incredible. What is your favorite tip to give families for a photo shoot? And then what is your favorite tip to give businesses for a photo shoot?
Oh, okay. So I guess a tip would be, I'm a sucker for getting hair and makeup done. If you can't tell, I had it done today. I love getting hair and makeup done for events. So for my clients specifically, I actually help them with their wardrobe so that the cohesiveness is there. It matches actually like the interior of their home. I want it to look good on their wall. So I will help with wardrobe. But my biggest tip is get your hair and makeup done. Because not only will you feel pretty, but the pictures, they just turn out, it just looks different. So.
And I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people, I don't know. I mean, that's such a big tip. You kind of forget about it for a little bit, but then all of a sudden it makes the big difference.
Yeah.
I think because you did a photo shoot for my family.
I did.
And I loved that photo shoot.
That was
I didn't
fun.
want to like bring it up, but I love it so much.
that was
I had
fun.
to. And I think the biggest tip that you did with us was you helped us decide on what to wear. And so simple. I mean, it sounds so silly, but it really makes a huge difference. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, Mom, we got to figure out what we're going to wear. Like, let's figure this out.
Your mom's so sweet. That was fun.
It was such a fun shoot. And I'm so glad that we got to do that.
Yeah.
Because also allows me to like ask you more questions about that. I mean, because you didn't have On Trend, I don't think when we did that shoot.
I don't think so.
What is your favorite part about combining the photography and the social media?
I think it gives me a lot of confidence in the social media arena because I know how to take the videos. I know how to shoot the photos. I've got the creative eye. So I think, honestly, I just think it provides a confidence and an understanding of what's going to work on social media. And even when you go back to editing, I mean, yesterday, Maddie and I shot over an hour's worth of reels for a client, and we sat down together and I kind of showed her how I like to organize the photos before I upload them, and just tips and tricks like that make it easier on the back end for our reel editors. I think there's so much crossover. So they play into each other.
And do y'all do everything in-house?
Everything's in-house.
Wow.
We don't outsource anything. Yeah.
And was that how y'all started, or did it kind of become that way over time?
That's how we've always been. Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive. A lot of people, I know a lot of people don't understand the creative industry, but for those that don't understand, that's massive.
Yeah. No, there's no outsourcing. For me, I think you have a little more control when you're doing it in-house.
For sure.
Sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get. Obviously, you could probably save a lot of money by outsourcing it. But no, we keep it all in-house.
That's incredible. Well, as we're kind of wrapping up, what are some tips that you would give to anyone who wants to go into the entrepreneurial field?
Take the risk. I'll leave you with this. One of my favorite books is Take the Risk by Dr. Ben Carson. You might remember him. He ran for vice president, I think, a couple of elections ago.
Yeah.
But he's also a neurosurgeon. Was at Johns Hopkins, so best of the best. But he wrote a book about how to analyze whether a risk is worth taking. And he says to write out these 4 questions, and it is, what is the best thing that can happen if I do it? What is the worst thing that can happen if I do it? What is the best thing that can happen if I don't do it? And what is the worst thing that can happen if I don't do it? I read that book probably 12 years ago, and I still do this 4-step system when I'm trying to make a decision. It's one of the most tangible pieces of advice I've ever been given. And it's funny, actually. It's what encouraged me to go into nursing school at the time. But, it's helped me make decisions. And had I not gone to nursing school or worked as a nurse, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So, yeah.
Okay, so one of the last couple of questions that we ask is, what does it mean to make you remarkable? And so what does that mean to you?
So the first thing that comes to mind is my photography business is called Repurposed. And the reason I named it that is because I was actually baptized and saved right before I started that business. And I felt like I wanted to live my life repurposed. So when I think about remarkable, I almost think about somebody you can remake a mark on. I don't know if that makes sense, but almost like don't define yourself by what you're doing now. You can always pivot and chase your dreams and start the business you've always wanted to do. As silly as it sounds, we get one shot at life.
Right.
One shot. That's it. So time is going to pass you by regardless of what you're doing with it. So don't let time scare you.
I think that's such a powerful thing to remember because a lot of people, they get really caught up in where they are now and like, oh, I don't think I can go any further. I can't go anywhere else. You're like, no, you have so many opportunities.
You can. Yeah.
Especially now with like the digital field, like you have so much that you can do. And you're an incredible testament to that.
Yeah. Thank you.
But tell me a little bit more about like, what does remarkable mean to you in particular?
I think it's, standing out, providing excellence, providing that second mile service, not skipping corners or being lazy. It's just, going above what the rest. I mean, again, I go back to Chick-fil-A, but they stand outside. They stand outside in 100-degree weather and they're happy to do it and take your order. I mean, that's remarkable. And that is what that's what I want us to represent. So, and
that kind of goes into my last question. How does On Trend create those remarkable experiences?
We go above and beyond for our clients. We genuinely care about each of our clients. I have lots of clients who I now have personal relationships with. We have processes that we are always fine-tuning, and we're never going to be too prideful to take criticism. I always want to be better. So if we can do something better, whether a client wants to tell me or even one of our account managers, I'm all ears. I want to always learn how to be better. So I think that's how we provide a remarkable experience for our clients.
I mean, that's awesome. Last thing that I love to do is our lightning round. And so these are just some fun, fast questions.
Dread this.
And just short answers, whatever you want to say. But
I have no idea what's about to come out of my mouth.
Perfect. That's what we want.
Awesome.
First and foremost, share a personal best or professional best.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Professional best this was in the last month. We have had 2 clients reach several million views.
Congratulations.
On several reels. Like out of nowhere, we had this happen. And that is like huge.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Huge. Like we're talking 12 million views on a single reel. Yeah. And others that are in the millions as well, but that's the highest.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What is the most impactful piece of advice you've ever been given?
When I was in college, I had a professor and she said, do not let time be your deterrent because time is going to pass you by anyway. So I kind of said that earlier, but basically if you're afraid to do something because it's going to require a lot of time, don't let that stop you because literally that time is going to pass you by anyway.
Right.
So,
I mean, you're going to have to use it somehow. You might as well use it for what you want to do.
Exactly.
What is something you always tell your staff or your families, like your mantra?
It's funny. I actually asked them yesterday. I said, what would y'all say like is my mantra? And they said, can you hear me? Are you there? Because whenever we're on like Google Meets, I'm the one that can't get my mic to work. And I thought that was so good. But no, I think I'm always telling them there is no ceiling. There's no ceiling. We're going to keep going up. Just delegate and elevate.
I think that's my favorite thing you've said today about sharing that to your team. Like, it's so encouraging.
Yeah. I want us to be different and I have to structure my business differently to be different from the rest.
Right.
And so I want them to think like business owners. So
what is your favorite current TikTok trend?
Give me my money.
That's mine too.
Really?
I have that on our reel. We're about to film that.
That's amazing. I saw it for the first time yesterday and it was so funny. That's my favorite.
It's so great. I love the look of horror when they realize that
it's so good.
And then the last one is, what is your favorite selfie tip? Like, how do you encourage someone to get the best selfie? And I love to ask this question because you're a professional photographer. And it's such a weird question to ask a professional photographer.
That's a funny question. I would say for us women, hold the phone up just a little bit to get that chin up. So that's probably my only good tip. I'm not a good selfie taker.
I know, you're the professional. You take the professional selfie.
Not with selfies.
All right. Well, shameless plug. Go ahead. How do people reach out to you? How do they connect with On Trend?
They can shoot me an email, liz@ontrendcreativestudio.com. And then obviously follow us on social, On Trend Creative Studio, and you can send us a DM and we'll get right back to you.
And what is your photography as well?
Repurposed photography.
Okay, perfect. And you do families and commercial, correct?
Yeah, I do a little bit of everything except this is what I say. I do everything but weddings. Although I'm doing an elopement in Italy next month, I'm dying.
That's
so excited. I know.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
an elopement. It's not really a wedding. So I'll do that all day. You want to take me to Italy, I'll go.
Well, Liz, thanks for coming on. This has been awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, this is fun.